So, get this out of here. There we go. If one says, I am a Nazir like the number of days of the solar year, he counts terms of Naziris like the number of days of the solar year. Rabbi Yehuda said there was an incident, and when he concluded, he died. If one says, I am a Nazir from dried figs.
Did you do the one, did you do that? Harani Mazir at Makom Ploni?
I'm sorry, I did Zion. Okay, if one says, I'm a Nazir from here until such and such a place, we calculate how many days journey it is from here until that place. If it is less than 30 days, he is a Nazir for 30 days. And if not, he's a Nazir for that number of days. And we are now on Beis Aleph. If one says, I am a Nazir from dried figs or from pressed figs, Beis Shammai says he is a Nazir. Beis Hillel says he is not a Nazir. And Rabbi Yehuda said, even when what Beis Shammai said, they did not say except for one who says they are for me like a sacrifice. Okay.
Okay. So in a similar vein, we're going to see this machlokes of Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai is continuing.
Right.
Amar parazu hareini nazir im omedes ani. Okay, so he says, so he has a situation where this cow has lain down in front of his doorway or something like that, and he wants to get it to move, and this cow just doesn't want to move.
Right.
And the expression that he uses is it's as if this cow has said, "I'll be a Nazir if I stand up," and he says, and just like that, I'll also be a Nazir if I can't get this cow to stand up. Or I'll be a Nazir if I can get this cow to stand up. And then the cow, without his interference, just got up and walked away. Okay. For similar case, Amar Delesu, Amar Delesze. Okay, so it says this door is said, Harini Nazir imiftach ani. I'll be a Nazir if I can be opened. So similarly, so what's filled in the blanks over here is that he says, and like it, I'll be a Nazir if I manage to open this door. And what happens and then the door somebody else comes and opens the door, or the door open, whatever the case is, he personally doesn't get to open it. But Beis Shammai Omrim Nazir. Nonetheless, he's still a Nazir. He conditioned it on the cow moving or on the door opening. Beis Hillel Omrim Eino Nazir, and Beis Hillel say he's not considered a Nazir. It's like he made a statement of, I am a Nazir from figs, and as we saw in the previous Mishna, that if somebody says I'm a Nazir from figs, Beis Hillel say that's not a Nazirus, and Beis Shammai say no, that he's called a Nazir. So it's like a partial statement that he's made that turns him into a sort of a weak Nazir, and Beis Shammai say that's binding, and Beis Hillel say that's not binding at all. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amru Beis Shammai lo amru ela beomer harei parazo alai korban im omedes hi. So Rabbi Yehuda again comes and says, no, Beis Shammai were not disagreeing. They're only disagreeing on that it's not binding. So they're only disagreeing is that if he actually said the phrase "Hare parazo alai korban im omedes," that this cow should be, a korban to me. It should be a konam, like a neder from this cow, if it gets up. And so again, consistent to the way he put it in the last Mishnah, he says that they both agree that there's no such thing as a Nazirus over here. All that can happen is that he might take a neder from the cow because he's so angry with the cow, and that's his view of things. Of course, in either case, Beis Hillel is going to be matirit. So there's no neder there. Was Beis Shammai say no, there is a neder over here. But either way, we rule like Beis Hillel that this is completely ineffective, and it's just sort of an intellectual point as to what exactly the view is of Beis Shammai over here.
Okay.
Did you have a question earlier?
Not yet. But after I read it over again, I will probably tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm a Nazir from a cow. I don't understand. The cow won't stand up. He's angry at the cow, so he's going to, I don't understand that so much. Am I wrong in that? The cow said, "I'm a Nazir."
Yeah.
How come? I mean, these are examples of extreme cases. Obviously, the cow didn't say anything.
Yeah,
Except,
yeah. The guy is saying it's Keilu. This cow seems to have proclaimed in itself that it'll be a Nazir if it moves. Okay.
Okay.
It's kind of colorful language and imaginative language. It's it's being so obstinate. It's Keilu like it made a neder and that it wasn't going to move. Okay. Mishna Gimel, Masku lo isakos. So guys sitting at a meal and they're pouring him a glass after glass of wine, and he's just like, I've had enough wine, and they keep pushing him. No, have some more wine, l'chaim, l'chaim. I think we may have. I've certainly had this kind of experience. I'm guessing you might have as well, where the guys are saying, no, have a little more, So Amar Hareini Nazir mimenu, and he says, no, I'm a Nazir from it. Okay, so now why did he do this? Did he want to make himself into a full-on Nazir, or is he just trying to get these people off his back? Right. Nazir. No. Because it's wine we're talking about over here. If they were talking about schnapps, you can't be a Nazir from whiskey. And then you get back into the same thing. It's like figs, being a Nazir from figs. Okay, so you're being a Nazir from whiskey. Okay, now it's the same Machlokes Beis Hillel Beis Shammai. But this one is clear that if he says I'm a Nazir from this, okay, fine, you're a Nazir. Because it's wine. Once it's Nazir from wine, he's a Nazir in all its aspects. Okay.
The next 30 days, that takes care of it.
Okay. Now comes a Maaseh Shehaya, which appears at first brush to be a contradiction of this halacha. Maaseh v'isha achas shehaysa shikora. So there was one woman who was sitting at a soda, and when it says shehaysa shikora, the commentary clarifies that she wasn't blind drunk. She was just getting tipsy, and she didn't want to have any more. Okay. And they brought her more and said, no, drink some more, have another l'chaim. And she said, no, I'm a Nazir from this wine. Amru chachamim lo niskavna el lomar harei hu alai korban. The chacham said about this that she really wanted to say was that this she's taking a neder from this cup, this particular cup. But she used this lashon so that they wouldn't just say, oh, okay, so this cup is a problem, but we'll bring you another cup. Yeah. Okay, so that's so now it appears to be a contradiction, but actually what the commentary explains is that this Mishnah is tot chaser, that there's a missing piece inside here which should be taught inside here. Let me see. So the Gemara explains that the difference is that if somebody has already had too much to drink. Wait, hold on a second. But okay, so this isn't coming to contradict the Resha, but rather just to add to it. That if people poured the cup and he's already drunk too much, and he says Hareini Nazir mimenu eino Nazir, that's not called a Nazir. V'zeu sheperish b'Gemara. So Mishnah senu chasera here. Okay, it's the Gemara, the Mishnah is lacking, and this is how it would be taught. So like we had at the beginning, if he used it and said I'm a Nazir from it, then he is a Nazir. But if he is drunk or tipsy, if he's already tipsy and the reason and he says I'm a Nazir from it, then he's not a Nazir, because his kavana was to say Hare hu alai korban, as we said before, and then we have the maaseh of this woman to prove the extra case that wasn't mentioned in the Mishnah. So if a person stam refuses the wine and says I'm a Nazir from it, then okay, he's a Nazir. But if he's already been drinking and and all he's trying to do is get them off his back and stop offering him more wine, then his words are interpreted to say that it's a korban.
if someone says that they keep offering him a drink, they offer this man a drink, he doesn't want any more, and the guy says to him, "What are you, a Nazir from this?" And he says, "Yes." What position does that put him in?
Yeah,
He didn't say.
he said, if
You're just trying to get them off the back.
That's kind of a subtlety. And again, are you talking about the case? If it's the case where he hasn't had anything to drink yet, if it's where he's already had something to drink, we've said over here, then it's kilu. He's just brushing them off. So if he's
Right.
if it's the first drink that they're offering him, he says, "No, I don't want any wine, thanks." And they say, "What are you, a Nazir?" And he says, "Yes." So does that make him into a Nazir? We said that if he's like, he says, I'm inclined to say, yeah, it might make him into a Nazir, because we saw in the earlier Mishnayos that if he sees another Nazir and he says, "I'll be like him," they have very, very brief wording for taking on a Naziris. And it could be that the yes is like, Amen, like, yeah, I'll be a Nazir.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Dalid. Hareni Nazir al Menashe. Hey, Shose Yayin Umitami Lamesim. Okay, if the person says, "I'm going to take on a conditional Naziris," I'm taking on Naziris just on condition that I'll still be able to drink wine and be Mitame Lamesim. So all that's effectively he's going to do is just grow his hair. So Hare Ze Nazir, sorry, doesn't work. You can't be a partial Nazir. You're a whole Nazir or you're not a Nazir. So if he's making a condition on the halakha in the Torah, it just doesn't work. So we hear the fact that he says he wants to be a Nazir, and his condition is completely batal. If Hareveh says, "Yodea ani sheyesh Nazirus," I knew that there's such a thing as Nazirus. About ein yodea she Nazir asur b'yayin. But when I took on this Naziris, I had no idea that I was going to be asked to drink wine. I thought Naziris was just about growing your hair and not becoming tame. I didn't realize that there was wine in there. Hare ze asur. Nah, it's such a well-known halacha. Hare ze asur. And all of the halacha of Naziris falls on him because he's trying to asur. Wait, sorry, asur. Yeah, so he's I think the idea is that he's completely it's like a Tanai, but it's also it's an ignorance of the halachas of Nazir doesn't excuse you from the laws of Nazir, because it's such a well-known thing that Nazirim don't drink wine. However, Rabbi Shimon is matir because he says that this is an edit house. He couldn't, so he made a mistake. He thought that he was going to be allowed to, and therefore his Naziris is batel because he took it on under mistaken assumptions. Okay.
All right.
Now, Yodea Anisha Nazir Asur B'Yayin Aval Sabur Hayisi Shechachamim Matirim Li. He says, "No, I knew that's in general Chachamim, in general Nazirim are not allowed to drink wine. But I thought in my specific case the Chachamim would permit me to drink wine. This is because I need wine medicinally. It's good for my heart and it helps me to get through tough periods. So I always drink wine. Okay." Or I'm an undertaker. I work for the Chevra Kedisha. I thought I'd be able to be a Nazir and still be able to do my work. Hare ze mutar. Says no. This is the Tanakh. But this time, this is mutar because he took on the Naziris under a mistaken assumption. And this is something which is different from the case of the wine because the wine is just like a well-known halacha, and if you don't know the halacha when you say that you're a Nazir,
Right.
Okay, that's not going to be an excuse. But he has a case where he thought that under these circumstances it was permitted. There's a little more darkistic, and therefore he thought so. This is more of an excusable mistake. Interestingly, however, Rabbi Shimon reverses himself over here, and he says, no, it's asur. You can't you can't break down this neder. Why? It's just because Rabbi Shimon says that Arba Nadarim she'tirin kafam einan v'tarim aleihem. Oh, he says that the case of all those four Nadarim that we saw in Maseches Nadarim, the Nidre Havai and the Nidre Ones and Shkaga, all of those things, they don't automatically get dissolved. You have to come to a Chacham to have them. What's that?
Oh, right.
But in the previous case, why does he hold that the guy who thought that a Nazir was allowed to drink wine? Why isn't he? Why does Rabbi Shimon say that this is mutar? Because when a person takes on the Nazirus, he has to take it on wholeheartedly. He has to take it on with all of its tikkukim, according to Rabbi Shimon. Okay, and as opposed to the Tanakh, it says that once you're taking on a Nazir, you're taking on whatever's in the Nazirus, even if you weren't
Right.
there. Okay.
Right.
Hey, Nadarim.
Yud-Hey. A Megaris who had waited 12 months or a widow 30 days, Reb Eliezer says, since her husband is responsible for her sustenance, he can revoke the Nedarim, and the sages, however, say a husband cannot revoke her Nedarim until she has entered his authority. A woman awaiting a Yavam, whether one Yavam or two Yavamim, Reb Eliezer says he may revoke her Nedarim. Yeshua says when she awaits one, but not two. Rabbi Akiva says neither when she awaits one nor two. Said Rabbi Eliezer, if he revokes the Nedarim of a wife whom he acquired on his own, surely he can revoke the Nedarim of a wife acquired for him by heaven. Said Rabbi Akiva to him, no, if you said this for a woman he acquired on his own, it is because others have no rights to her. Shall you say this for a woman acquired for him by heaven, to whom others do have rights? Said Rabbi Yeshua to him, Akiva, your words apply when there are two Yavamim. What do you answer when there is one? He said to him, the Yavama is not as a complete a wife to the Yavam, as the betrothed woman is a complete wife to her husband. One who says to his wife, all the Nedarim which you shall make from now until I return from such and such a place are confirmed. If he said nothing, but if he says they shall be revoked, Reb Eliezer says they are revoked. The Kakaman, however, say they are not revoked, and Reb Eliezer says if he can revoke Nedarim which are already binding, should he not be able to revoke Nedarim which are not yet binding? They said to him, if it says her husband can confirm it and her husband can revoke it. That which can be confirmed can be revoked, and that which cannot be confirmed cannot be revoked. Okay. One more. Revocation of
No.
That was it. That's what I thought. Okay.
Sivas Yud Aleph Vav.
A minor who exercised the right of a refusal, a relative of the second degree, or an aloneness, are not entitled to a ketubah or osrik or a sustenance or worn out articles. But if from the outset he married her knowing that she was an aloneness, she is entitled to a ketubah. A widow married a Kohen Gadol, a divorcee, or a woman who had performed kalitza married to an ordinary Kohen, a mamzeris, or a Nissanite married to a regular Jew, and the daughter of a regular Jew married to a Nissanite or a mamzer are entitled to ketubah. If one marries a woman and stipulates with him that he supports her daughter for 5 years, he's obligated to support her for 5 years. If she married another man and she stipulates with him that he supported her daughter for 5 years, he is still obligated to support her for 5 years. The first one shall not say, when she comes to me, I will support her. Rather, he must take her in sustenance to the place where her mother is. And likewise, both of them shall not say, we will support her together. Rather, one must support her and the other one must give the value of her sustenance. Okay.
One more.
If she marries, the husband provides her with sustenance, and they give her the right of the value of sustenance. If they die, their daughters are supported from unencumbered property, but they are supported even from assigned property, unless she is like a creditor. The clever would write, on the condition that I support your daughter for 5 years, as long as you are with me.
Okay.
Test. And the following may be given to any priest.
Wait,
Devoted things.
hang on. Which are you on? Are you on challah?
I'm sorry.
Have you jumped to challah? Were you on Moed Katan?
We skipped more cotton yet? Okay, I didn't know we were starting in there. Okay, all right. More cotton.
Beginning.
Here we go. We may water an irrigated field during Kol HaMoed or during Shemitah, either from a spring that has just begun to flow or from a spring that has not just begun to flow. However, we may not water irrigated fields, neither with rainwater nor with water from a cistern, nor may we dig ditches around grapevines. Eliezer ben Azariah says we may not dig a new irrigation canal during Kol HaMoed or Shemitah. The sages say we may dig a new irrigation canal during Shemitah and repair damaged ones during Kol HaMoed. We may repair damaged cisterns in the public domain and clear them out. We may repair roads and streets and ritual baths, provide all public needs, mark graves, and even go out to inspect the fields for forbidden mixtures of seeds during Kol HaMoed. But Eliyahu ben Yaakov says we may divert water from one tree to another, provided that by doing so, one does not water the entire field. Seeds that were not watered before the festival will not be watered during Kol HaMoed. The Concomitant, however, permit watering in both these cases. Okay. Now we go to challah. Excuse me?
Now we can do challah.
Right. Okay. And the following may be given to any priest. Devoted things, the firstborn, the redemption price of a son, the ransom of the firstborn of a donkey, the shoulder, the 2 cheeks, and the more, the first of the fleece, oil which must be burnt, holy things of the temple, and first fruits. Rabbi Yehuda forbids the first fruits and vetches of truma. Rabbi Akiva permits, but the sages forbid. Anita of Tekoa brought challah from Beitar, but they did not accept them from him. The men of Alexandria brought their challah from Alexandria, but they did not accept them from them. The men of Hartzivion brought their bikurim before Shuas, but they did not accept from them because of what is written in the Torah, and the feast of harvest, the first fruits of your labors which you sow in the field. Ben Antinios brought up his firstlings from Babylon, but they did not accept them from him. Yosef the priest brought bikurim of wine and oil, but they did not accept it from them. He also took up his sons and the members of his households to make them minor Pesach and Yerushalayim, but they turned him back, lest he establish itself as an obligatory. Ariston brought his bikurim from Apamima, and they accepted that from him because they said, one who buys in Syria is one who buys in the suburb of Yerushalayim.
And tomorrow we do Orla.
Okay, the guy, Yud Gimel test. If someone enters an afflicted house with his garments on his shoulder and his sandals and his rings in his hands, and he became tummy immediately, and they become tummy immediately. However, if he is wearing his garments, his sandals are on his feet and his rings are on his fingers, he becomes tummy immediately. But the garment, sandals, and rings remain tahor until he stays long enough time to eat a half loaf of wheat bread rather than barley bread, which while reclining and eating it with a condiment. Someone stood inside an afflicted house and extended his hand outside with his rings on his fingers. If he remained long enough to eat a half loaf, the rings become tameh. Somebody who was standing outside and extended his hand inside an afflicted house with his rings on his fingers, Rabbi Yehuda renders tameh immediately, but they can come and say until he remains long enough to eat a half loaf. They said to Rabbi Yehuda, when his entire body becomes tameh, his clothes do not become tameh until he remains in the house long enough to eat a half loaf. If it is not logical that when he himself does not become tameh, his clothes should not become tameh either until he remains in the house long enough to eat a half a loaf. We're not describing the time that a half a loaf takes to eat. Someone can eat faster than another.
It's what?
So we're not. Someone could eat half a loaf faster than another person.
We're taking an average person. That's all of these shiurim of like a day, halichas meal, how long it takes to walk a meal, or how
Right.
is it, people are faster, people are slow. We have kazayas, big olives, small olives. You take an average olive.
All right. Why do they need to have a condiment on top with the bread? Why is that important to have a condiment? What does that add to it?
Because it's a normal way of eating the bread, I guess.
Okay. If a Matzorah enters a house, all the utensils that are there become tameh, even up to the ceiling beam. So Reb Shimon says to the height of 4 cubits. The utensils become tameh immediately, but Reb Yehuda says if you remain long enough to kindle a lamp. Okay. Yeah. If a Matzorah, that's it. And the last one we have is
Hurry us.
Okay, hurry up. Base. If the court ruled and realized that they had erred and retracted their ruling, whether they had enough already brought their atonement or whether they did not bring their atonement, and he proceeded to act on their word, Rabbi Shimon exempts him. In what way is he different from one remaining at home? Rabbi Kiva replied, is that in that it was possible for the one remaining at home to have heard, while this one, it was impossible for him to hear. If the court ruled to uproot the entire corpus of a law, for example, if they said that there is no need of prohibition in the Torah, or that there is no Sabbath prohibition in the Torah, or that there is no idol worship prohibition in the Torah, they are exempt. If they rule to establish part of a law and to retain part, they are liable. How so? If they said that there is a needed prohibition in the Torah, but one who cohabitates with a woman observing one day against another is exempt. For that, or that there is a Sabbath prohibition in the Torah, but one who carries from a private to a public domain is exempt. Or that there is a prohibition on idol worship, but one who bows is exempt. They are liable, as it says, and some matter will be forgiven, some matter, but not the entire corpus. If the law ruled, and if the court ruled, and one of them knew that they had erred, and he said to them, "You are mistaken," and you are mistaken, or if the most distinguished member of the court was not there, or if one of them was a convert, a mamzer, or a nisonite, or an elder who never had saw for himself children, these are exempt, for it says here Edda, and it says further on Edda, just as in the case of the Edda, which is said further on, they must all be fit to rule. So too the Edda, which is said here, means until they are all fit to remain for legal ruling. If the court ruled inadvertently and all people acted inadvertently, they bring a bull. If they ruled willfully and the people acted inadvertently, they must each bring a she-lamb or a she-goat. And if they ruled inadvertently and the people acted willfully, they are exempt. Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Hope I got you out on time. Okay.
Oh, we good. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Right.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.